Alrighty, here we go on another Thursday, the final Thursday of the month of September. Folks, I got to admit, I don't know where time has gone this month. It has been a rocket lightning-like quick month of September, the first full month of the Gannon Athletics season, and boy, it's been a splendid one. We've had so many incredible moments already, many that we've shared with you on this show, and as we get ready for October, we have many more that we're also excited for. But for those of you who are here for the first time, welcome in. This is the United Podcast, the official Gannon Athletics podcast that focuses on all things athletes, from the student athletes to the stories behind them, and, of course, some of the game action that you can expect on a week-by-week basis. We have plenty of live guests every single show, and we feature so many of the stories that makes the student-athlete who they are, both on and off the field of competition. We're excited to be back here at Pier 6 Rooftop Bar and Restaurant once again. It is the final show that we have here in the months of September, though I'll tell you what, we have been blessed. Every single week that we have been here, the weather has been just like this. It is gorgeous. You see the sun beaming down on my face. It's doing the same on everybody else's face who's here as well, seated both indoors and outdoors. This is just a beautiful venue, and it's part, of course, of John Russell Hospitality, who is the proud sponsor of our Gannon United podcast. They just do a tremendous job with making people feel right at home, feel very comfortable, and more than anything, feel like family whenever you go to one of their restaurants. So happy to be here this week. We're going back to the Tap House next week, but we'll show you that and give you a rundown of what you can expect for next week later in the show. That's then. This is now. Let's get into what you can expect for the show tonight in the final Thursday of the month of September. We are packed this evening. It's going to be a duo of home openers this weekend. We'll start with volleyball. Head coach Matt Darling and a couple of student athletes are going to join us on the podcast in just mere moments. Matt is on his way as we speak. Their home opener is tomorrow night, 7 o'clock. There'll be a ring ceremony for the Atlantic Regional Championship from last year. That starts their home slate of the season after 11 straight away from the Highmark Event Center. Pretty special, too, with volleyball. They've never played a game inside the newly renovated Highmark, so this will be the first time ever that they've played any set, any point whatsoever inside this new Highmark Event Center. So we're excited to showcase that. There'll be a lot of pomp, circumstance, and a chance to see your defending regional champion Golden Knights in action at home for the first time. Speaking of at home for the first time via taped action, Zarko Sadakovic and the men's water polo team is going to join us on the show in a little bit as well. They're also at home for the first time this season, and the only time until they host WWPA championships. They'll be taking on a myriad of teams, including McKendree, Penn State, Washington and Jefferson, Penn State, Barron, and Mercyhurst at the WWPA Erie Classic. So we're previewing that event. We'll hear from Coach Zarko as well as a couple of student athletes on that team. That's coming up a bit later. And, of course, previewing the WWPA Erie Classic, which is at Cathedral Prep this year. So, again, welcome in. Such an exciting show that we have in front of you. And it's really hard to believe that we're almost through September and still have a couple of athletic programs that have not yet played a game at home. But that's the way the ship sails in 2025. And so it just makes everything more exciting here at the end of the month. Like we said, welcome to those of you watching live via satellite and via social media. For those of you who are here in person, every single week, if you haven't seen this already, we're doing something really special throughout the entirety of the United Podcast this year, and that's a ticket giveaway. Every time that you come to a podcast live in person, so you join us at the Top House next week, Pier 6 this week, and you show a proof of purchase during the time of the podcast, you get entered into a giveaway opportunity for a season ticket membership for free for football and men's and women's basketball, as well as reserve seats to every single game. It's called our Golden Ticket Giveaway. At the end of the year, we'll be drawing from a pool of tickets, and the winner will receive those free season tickets for an entire year. So every time you come, every time you show proof of purchase and you're at one of our podcasts, you get entered into this for an opportunity to win. Had a lot of people that have already signed up. Entries are coming in very quickly, and many each and every single week. So make sure to come out in person for that chance to win the golden ticket. It's a really great value. Season tickets for free for an entire year. So make sure that you stop by and be a part of our golden ticket giveaway. All right, let's get into the show, shall we? We start, as always, with our dish of the day. Tell you what, Pier 6 has been serving up some really good ones lately. Let's showcase what they have on tap for this evening for our dish of the day. Pier 6 came with the heavy hitter to end the month of September. It seems simple, but it tastes so good. The blackened chicken sandwich is our dish of the day here at Pier 6 Rooftop Bar and Restaurant. it's one of those classics, right? It's like the classic pepperoni at the Tap House, but it just hits so different anytime you have it, especially near the end of September. You're looking for a bit of a heartier meal, but you don't want to go too overboard because it's still nice out. Maybe you want to get on the boat afterwards. You want to take a walk around Presque Isle, whatever be your fancy after a nice dinner date. The blackened chicken sandwich is perfect. Side of fries, tomato, lettuce, everything you could expect on a great bun as well for our dish of the day. So it is the blackened chicken sandwich. Make sure to get yours today at Pier 6 Rooftop Bar and Restaurant, part of the John Russell Hospitality Group.
At John Russell Hospitality, every restaurant tells a story of flavor, community, and unforgettable moments. From handcrafted meals to welcoming spaces, we bring people together around a table. John Russell Hospitality, where great food meets genuine companionship. Make sure to visit one of our 6 locations today.
Head coach Matt Darling is on set with us right now, ready to join us in just a moment. Before we get to him, though, let's show you what's on tap for this weekend, the final weekend of the month of September. As we have been talking about, 2 home openers for 2 of our athletic programs this weekend. Hard to believe. We haven't had a lot of home events in September, but we ramp it up starting on Friday. Just about 24 hours from now, I should say. Volleyball is home for the first time. They started with 11 straight on the road, and now they enter the Highmark Event Center for the first time ever. They have not played inside the recently renovated venue yet, and Matt Darling's squad gets a chance to in 2025. That will be what will be the start of their home season against Shepherd, 7 o'clock at the Highmark Event Center. There'll also be a ring ceremony prior to the match, so make sure to stop out, see this great team, this great atmosphere that we're going to have inside the HEC, and cheer on volleyball in their first home game of the season. If you miss Friday's game, you get a second go around on Sunday. It's rivalry day at the Highmark Event Center. Volleyball takes on Edinburgh for home game number 2. That's a 2 o'clock start on a Sunday matinee. Women's soccer on the road this weekend. They'll be facing UPJ Saturday at 2:30. Tell you what, Colin Peterson's team continues to win. They beat Edinburgh last night 2-1 on a goal from Brooklyn Respecki. Freshman Olivia Dixon had the go-ahead goal in the first half as well. They're undefeated at 6-0. They look to keep that unblemished record alive heading into Saturday afternoon. Men's water polo, who we're going to hear from in a few minutes after Coach Darling, will be hosting the WWPA Erie Classic at Cathedral Preps Aquatic Center this Saturday and Sunday. Game times for water polo is Saturday morning at 10:30, Saturday afternoon at 3:30, and Sunday morning at 10:30. There'll also be some senior day festivities ahead of the 3:30 p.m. game. So if you're a water polo fan or you just want to see the team in action, they're good this year. I promise they've had a lot of great success already. That's a 3-game window for water polo this weekend. And then women's golf, fresh off a couple of standout performances, is also on the road Saturday and Sunday at the Bulldog Fall Classic. That's in Big Rapids, Michigan. So Scott Stano ready to go with his team coming up over the course of the next couple of days. But as we have been talking about, it's home opener number 1 of 2 on the weekend tomorrow night. And that's where volleyball comes in, because Matt Darling's squad has been on the road for quite some time. Now you finally get to come back home. Coach Darling, who's joining us on the show tonight. Do you enjoy the opening season road trips? What's that like, having to be so away from home so early and often in the season?
Well, first of all, thanks for having me. It's good to be back with you. Regarding the early season, we'll travel if it gets us some good competition, and so mission accomplished from that standpoint. But independent of that, yes, I think we're all looking forward to being home. We would love to have hosted a home tournament this fall, but we didn't do it. So, we're looking forward to Friday night.
So let's talk about Friday night, because it is your home opener, but I don't think what people understand, maybe they just forget because it doesn't go through their head. You've literally not played a single point of match competition inside the newly renovated Highmark Event Center. And I know that's not the focus for you. You want to win the match, but we've seen for months now what this new building has done in terms of the atmosphere and the pomp and circumstance and the excitement. And there's got to be that feeling of we finally get our chance to play in it, right?
A little bit, yeah. It was, I don't know, the celebration in January when it was reopened was fun. We cut the ribbons and everything like that. But then, you got to kind of cool your engines for a little while to actually get on the court. But I don't know. I think it'll be exciting. The athletes, I'm sure, are looking forward to it. It's the first time that we'll have the pregame talk in the new locker room, and the first time that we've had the big, we'll see our pictures on the big video board. I think there's a lot of excitement about those things. Yes.
How much of that pomp and circumstance do you allow the student athletes on that night just to take in? I know you want to focus on the game, but is there a little bit of a give and take there?
I'm happy to let them soak it in. That this will be the only first time. So I think that they should embrace it. We haven't talked that much about it, but you can just feel the energy. I haven't really tried to curtail that. We have a young group. They're going to play a lot better, I think, on emotions than like maybe a more veteran group would be.
Sure.
So I think it's less of a distraction and more of like just an additional incentive to do your best.
Let's talk about the season so far. You're 11 games in. You bring a 7-4 record into the opener coming up tomorrow night. You've played a couple of early season tournaments. You mentioned you started in New York City. You moved around. You just came back from West Virginia. It is a young team. You've rotated a lot of people in different positions. Take us through what that process has been like in trying to figure out the different places that people can be successful in.
The lineup is still not set. I mean, I was hoping that maybe by the end of the preseason, we would have a pretty good sense. We know what we're going to start with tomorrow, but it just hasn't looked the same day in and day out. Part of that is because we have a lot of players who can do the job, which that's the upside, but we don't have anybody who is like really just taking control of some of the positions that we have been rotating people through. I think it will be beneficial to us to have some stability in that environment. But we also have developed this ethos of, all right, not your moment. Somebody else is ready to step in there and get that job done. And sometimes it's voluntarily. I had an athlete on Saturday say, "Hey, I just don't think I can do it. My knees are pretty sore." And so, okay, then that's an easy change. And sometimes that'll be just depending on performance, but then it also sometimes depends on matchups.
It is amazing when you say that, because with a young team and so many players trying to vie for different positions, there sometimes, I'm sure, can be that thought of, well, if I get taken out of the game, I'm never going to get that opportunity again, right? That would be my feeling if I was coming in as a freshman, and you've had a couple of freshmen that have performed very well, including getting some accolades both on campus and in the PSAC, but it seems like they've handled that well, right? Hey, even if I get taken out, if it's not my day, I'm going to get that opportunity again, because to your point, there's just so many places that you have open opportunities for people to be successful in.
Yes. So I think on one hand, the players are very supportive of each other, so they understand that it's my turn now, and maybe it's not my turn now, but that the table's always turned there. Yeah. But also it's a performance-based profession for players as well as coaches. Like, my players understand that if I'm hitting my benchmarks and the team's hitting its benchmarks, then that's what we're trying to do here. Right. And if we're not, then everyone's got their eyes open to the possible changes.
Let's talk about some of maybe the student athletes who you've seen be successful so far in the early going, and some of those young players that we haven't seen on the floor that maybe fans tomorrow night will get an opportunity to see.
So in terms of the newcomers, we have a couple freshmen, depending on the match, sometimes 3 or 4 freshmen actually in the starting lineup. Abby Williams, who is left side from Chicago. She was the Gannon Player of the Week, female athlete of the week a couple weeks ago. Yep. She's off to a really nice start. Still working through some of those inconsistencies that freshmen are. She has a big load to carry. She's passing, she's serving. She leads us in aces and kills and points. So, she's carrying a lot of weight, but she's doing a nice job. Carly Weber has, going into the season, I thought she was going to be an athlete who could help us in a lot of different places. And she has started at right back defender. She's played some right side. She's played some middle. Last couple matches, she's done a really, really good job in the middle for us. Okay. So I don't know where she'll end up tomorrow, but having that production is really great. But probably the most stabilizing of the newcomers is Alexis Fowler, who has been the libero exactly every point so far this season. We knew that was going to be a hotly contested position. We did not have a true front runner. Yeah. But she had a great preseason, and she has done a very nice job in that role. Ella Demirel has done a nice job as a DS as well. So she's gotten some good playing time as a freshman. So yeah, at times all 4 of them are out there.
And it's cool to see because, and I'm sure it makes it a fun job for you just to figure out those moving pieces. I know that's what you love. I joked with the players a couple days ago. I said, at some point, I'm going to convince you to show me what's in your Bible. Maybe not this year, but years down the road. But anyway, we mentioned the young talent on this team, but there are still some veteran pieces, a couple that we'll hear from tonight later on in the podcast, that you can rely on. And I know when you get someone like Bangasu Arslan back, when you get Lauren Atwell back, those two are going to be those familiar household names. How important have they been at the beginning of the season and trying to stabilize some of the younger talent moving around in different pieces. Must be nice to have them that's those cornerstone pieces.
Yeah, and they've done their job. Lauren's role for 2 years really was to block as many balls as possible, and if she gets set every once in a while, just to keep us alive. She has a very different role this year. She's in a point scoring role, and offensively she has really been great. I mean, she's hitting around 300, and that includes a couple of matches where she was like completely underwater. And so, I think as that play gets more consistent, she's going to be among the elite, I think, in the conference. Bengasu's been among the elite in the conference as the setter position since day one. She's been very solid for us again this year. I think she maybe leads the conference in assists per set. We need her to defend. We need her to block. We need her to be a leader as well. And so, I think as she takes on some of those additional roles, she's got to keep her standards high when it comes to running the offense. But I think overall the mix between the young and the old has been a positive one.
Yeah, for Bengasu, a woman of many talents, and has to, like you mentioned early in the season. Tomorrow night's going to be a special night in addition to the home opener. You get your ring ceremony tomorrow and recognizing the 2024 Atlantic Regional Championship team. Take me through what that sentiment means to you. You've been to plenty of Elite Eights. You've had a lot of amazing teams. What will it be like having some of the ones that have graduated, many on that team did, back for that ring ceremony tomorrow night?
So eight people from that team are no longer on the roster, and 6 of the 8 will be here tomorrow night. So look at just from a reunion standpoint, it would be great to see some of those kids. That particular group, I think, really had to kind of get it together after a long and difficult road for the season last year to win that regional. And I think, that was a real feather in their cap. I mean, we were, as noted earlier, we weren't in our gym the entire time. And, we played matches in blizzards and, we had a sort of heartbreaking defeat in the conference tournament finals. And, but to overcome all of that and get out to the Elite Eight, I think was a real feather in their cap. And now, they get to put that ring on to maybe remind them, not so much maybe of the accomplishment of the past, but I hope it reminds them that, okay, last year was difficult in so many ways, but because I persevered, because we stayed together, because we trusted, this, we get to celebrate this thing. And I think those are good life lessons to have. It's not always going to be perfect, but if you just hang in there, you might get, a metaphorical ring.
It's a nice thing that you can transition to life lessons. That's what I was going to mention next. And that ring ceremony, by the way, just before the first serve. So make sure to be in your seats early. We'll have a nice presentation for that right before the game. But you, of course, have many duties in the English department as well in the courses that you teach. And I'm curious, because you and I talk sometimes just about how the student-athlete life has changed over the course of even the time that you've coached and what that balance is like. Of course, you factor in things like NIL and you factor in things like the transfer portal. And I'm just curious to get your perspective on what that academic athletic balance looks like now compared to maybe where it was when you started, because you, again, have a big hand in the academic side as well.
Well, people tend to talk about the realities of the current generation, right? So the transfer portal's here, and in some form it's going to stay. Right. And it came about for necessary reasons. Student athletes weren't always given the fair shake that they deserved. I understand that. NIL, I philosophically have a slight disagreement with the idea that a student athlete who is on a scholarship to get an education is being exploited in some ways. We used to call that kind of thing opportunity, not exploitation. But let's just go ahead and say those two things are a part of the facts of life. I think it was Thoreau in Walden who said, "Most of what my neighbors believe to be good, I know in my heart to be evil. And if I repent of anything, it's likely to be my good behavior." So I try to keep that in mind. Just because everybody's doing it doesn't mean that I have to think that it's good. And as a matter of fact, I don't think it's good. But to the extent that I have some autonomy over a program, we can still do things the way that we want to do them. Mm-hmm. And, at some point I'll become an anachronism, and then my time will be done as a coach. But in the meantime, I still think you can find people who want to come here to be a part of a team. They're not trying to get in and get out to see what's best for them individually. And I think this year's team is a great example of that. There are players who certainly could be playing at other places and maybe taking advantage of some of those things. But we try to make that experience a great one. and we don't lose sight of the balance that you talked about. Like, we want people to still pursue difficult degrees. We want people to be able to go to lectures. We want people to be able to have a student athlete experience that is somewhat resembles a student experience. I think it's still an ideal that is possible. It's much, much more difficult to achieve it. But as long as I can, I'm going to keep working to try to provide that kind of an opportunity for the student athletes in this program.
It does seem like this team this year, whether it's the academic side or the athletic side, and you were touching on this a bit earlier, is it feels like they've taken the bull by the horns, where they know what they are. They know they're young. They know they have a lot to learn, whether it be in the classroom or whether it be on the floor, but they've embraced that. Is that something that you've noticed too, that this team is almost just come in and they've accepted the fact that they have a long road to walk, but they're willing to run to get there?
Yeah, and this started in the spring when we were working on mission statements and things of that nature. This group, without the 8 people who left the program in December, really they knew what they wanted.
Yeah,
and it was all built on relationships. As recently as August, when we had our preseason meeting, we talked about what our goals were for the year. Like, winning a championship did not come up. I mean, it's been a while since that's not been at least on somebody's mind. But what they really, really want to do is to just have a great experience together. And, so that's actually been some changes for me. But, specifically, I remember being on the bus. We're on the way to the first match of the season in New York. And I said, okay, what do you guys want from me? And they're like, okay. And they had a list of like 7 or 8 things. And they were like, we want you to be standing. We don't want you to be writing things. We want you to be, and so I was like, okay, so that's very different from what I'm used to doing. But again, I'm meeting the team, understanding what their goals are and approving of them. I've got to do my part as well.
It is neat to get to see the evolution of a team that we've already seen through 11 games, and will be 12 tomorrow night. Let's finish with this, Coach. Scouting Shepherd, it's not a traditional PSAC contest with East versus West, but it is a opponent within your conference. What do you expect from them tomorrow night that will be a key for you to look at?
I think it'll be a hotly contested match. And yes, not a traditional conference match for us since they're in the East and we don't, those don't show up in our standings. But where it will show up is in regional considerations.
Right.
They're a top 5 program right now in terms of regional things. They've got a good win over Pitt Johnstown. And Pitt Johnstown already beat IUP. IUP did beat IP did beat Shepherd, but in maybe 4 or 5 sets. So, they're good. They are always a good blocking team, and this year's no exception. They're physical. They've got big middles. They've got 2 lefties. Their setter and their right side are left-handed, so that's something we do not see in our gym. And so, these are things that we're going to have to adjust, like kind of in real time. So, I would expect to see a lot of blocks from Shepherd, hopefully some from us as well. We're going to, really try to leverage our best skill, which so far have been our serving and, our ability to let Bengasu run a diverse offense. If we can do those 2 things, I think we'll be competitive. But I think it's going to be a very, very tight match tomorrow.
And I know you always talk about this, and I hate to bring it up, but the conference every year is so deep. And I'm sure a case again this year, albeit all these teams, it appears, are in your boat in a way where they're just trying to factor in some new talent as well. So it is fascinating that it seems like, from my view, the conference is all in a similar position this year with trying to figure it out as they go.
Yeah, well, we've had 2 West matchups already. Both of them went 5 sets.
Right.
So I think this is a predictor of what this is going to look like. I'm both excited about it, but I've got some Pepto-Bismol, bedside just in case.
Hey, you know what? It's both exciting and stressful, but that's what sports are about. And if we didn't love it, we wouldn't be where we are.
For sure.
Coach, I really appreciate you coming on. We can't wait to see you in action tomorrow. Ring ceremony is going to be great. Again, get out there. 7 o'clock is the start. Be in your seat by 6:45. Good luck tomorrow, and let's do this again soon. This was a lot of fun.
Sounds good, Isaac. Thanks.
All right, head coach Matt Darling joining us from Volleyball. They're home tomorrow, 7 o'clock, about 24 hours from now for their home opener.
At John Russell Hospitality, every restaurant tells a story of flavor, community, and unforgettable moments. From handcrafted meals to welcoming spaces, we bring people together around a table. John Russell Hospitality, where great food meets genuine companionship. Make sure to visit one of our 6 locations today.
All right, back with you on the show. Again, a reminder, Volleyball home tomorrow night for the first time, and you can be in attendance for both the game and the 2024 Atlantic Regional Championship ring ceremony, which will take place just prior to the first serve. Coach Darling, just a moment ago, saying that 6 of the 8 that graduated from last year will be a part of that ring ceremony, so we get to say hi to some familiar faces along the way as well. So very excited for that. Make sure to come out and enjoy that action on Friday. And then on Saturday, make sure you head over to the Cathedral Preparatory Pool, which will be the host site for the WWPA Erie Classic. That's coming up starting on Saturday, and it will run through Sunday. Gannon Water Polo is home at 10:30 on Saturday morning, 3:30 Saturday afternoon for Senior Day, and 10:30 on Sunday morning. And their opponents, Washington and Jefferson, Penn State Barron, and Mercyhurst. Earlier this afternoon, we caught up with head coach Zarko Sadakovic and some student athletes on the water polo team as they get ready for the WWPA Erie Classic. Can't wait. This team is going to be a showstopper. They have a lot of very great talent on their roster. Here's my conversation with Zarko and some of our student athletes.
Close now to the WWPA Erie Classic. We're almost halfway through the water polo season, which is hard to believe. October's nearly here, and that means that head coach Zarko Sadakovic has his hands very full. Coach, we're going to talk about the team in just a moment, but it's been a busy year for you just in general, and a very busy summer, including what I can only imagine is the greatest day you've ever had in your entire life, getting married to your now wife, Christine, who's also, of course, a assistant coach with the women's team. I'm sure that was an exciting day and an exciting time for the both of you.
It was definitely one of my best summers and best day of my life. It was a long summer, a lot of fun memories, a lot of energy spent. As you said, one of the best things that happened to me so far in my life. But that's behind us now, and we are definitely into the heart of the season. And I'm looking forward to how the season is going to look.
It's hard to believe that the summer is already by. We're almost a month into the fall.
It's quick.
Time has to fly when you're in season, doesn't it?
Oh yeah. I mean, to me, like last week was the week that they came in and started doing all the physicals and all the preparation stuff. So the time does fly. When you're having a good time, when things are getting productive, when there's just a lot of interesting things happening at once, it's gonna fly away.
Let's talk about the team. And you're already a few games into the season. You played a couple of tournaments. Of course, your home tournament coming up this weekend, and we'll get to that in just a minute. But you mentioned to me at the beginning of the onset of the year that there was going to be a lot of familiar faces that would return, and the expectations were pretty high for this team. Take me through what you've just seen from the squad in the first few weeks of the year that maybe you like it and maybe you think you built on from the preseason until this point in the year.
Sure. So to begin with, since I came to this program, we have graduated some players. Unfortunately, some players have left us. So the team has changed a lot, like in any other environment. However, having a lot of months off in the summer, when the beginning of the season comes, it's kind of hard to predict how people are going to be. But it's also a good time to see who really took it seriously and who stepped it up in their individual game. I think that this year's team has started pretty good. People came back in somewhat shape, which is expected. But we had a pretty good start down at Harvard and Brown. Well, first Brown and then Harvard. The second day, we have faced some bigger D1 teams in Ivy League schools and have had some of the best and closest games that we had against them. And the second day was a little bit more successful normally, as it is. As at every beginning of the season is, but we actually show some very good resilience and ended up, getting that tournament with the win over MIT, and it was a pretty significant team, and I was very happy how the team had played and how it evolved, or how it progressed from the first game at the Brown tournament towards the end game against MIT, and then going into the second weekend. We were at the Double J Invite, very tough competition, different pool, different environment, which we have to take into consideration. This time is a perfect moment to follow up with the plan that we had from the beginning. Everybody's going to find their role. Everybody has a role in the team, and this is the time when you're going to work towards the common goal and find your spot on the team. And work towards the common goal, which is to win.
It's funny you mentioned the competition that you faced at the beginning of the season, because I think what to me popped off the page when we were putting your schedule on the website is all of the great competition that you play. And I feel like that's a question that so many coaches have to decide an answer on is, do you load up with games that are winnable games so your record can look great, or do you try to go and dive deep and find great competition? And clearly this season you guys are going up against some of the best that the country has to offer.
Sure, I'm sure that every coach has its own philosophy how they do it. It's hard to find one way. As you said, every team is different. Every year is different. Rosters are different, and you have to kind of adjust to that. Obviously, things are not gonna go the way they always want it to go. But finding some balance and at the beginning having tough and some easier competition, it's always a good choice. You have 18, 20, 25 team rosters, so you have to be considered that everybody has to play, but also you have to play those players who are going to peak at certain times. So it's a very hard thing to balance, but ultimately it's going to work out well.
And the reality that you are a team, but every person is on their own personal journey of where they're at in the mountain. Some guys might be at the peak right now. Some guys may be in the middle of the mountain. You never know.
Yeah.
And I think that brings us to what's coming up with the WWPA Erie Classic. But specifically before that, I want to talk about how you view the conference and maybe where you potentially stack up when you get to conference championships. We're going to also get into you hosting WWPAs in just a moment, but the conference is always difficult. It's always tough. How do you envision yourself fitting into that mix when you get to conference championships? I know obviously your goal is to win. How do you feel that you stack up compared to that competition?
Sure. Being this early in the season, it's still hard to say where everybody, first for ourselves and, to see where everybody else is standing. But without a doubt that you can follow other teams and see how they're doing, and you can kind of, rate yourself or see how you're doing.
Right.
Without a doubt, the last year's Champions Salem have had a great start, as well as Concordia, which are definitely one of the favorites for this year's conference, including us as a host. But also there's a lot of changes within the other teams and the coaching staffs and the rosters, which is always going to be a thing. So to answer your question, Isaac, I think we're going towards the very, very, very good direction. I think we had a good start, but on the other side, I think there's a lot of stuff that we got to work on and find our spots on the team and roles.
And the nice thing about it is you have until middle of November to be able to do that. That's when your conference championships are. And we've talked a lot privately about the excitement of going to Spire Academy in Ohio and hosting these WWPA championships. But for those who don't necessarily understand the venue, what it means, and what it means to be hosting this, I'm sure there's got to be a lot of excitement with this team and maybe even some extra motivation knowing that you play host this year to the championships.
Oh, without a doubt, that is going to be, the 8th player in the pool for us. Hosting a WWE championship this year with this team, it's going to be amazing. Having our community, having our students, having our Gannon fans come and watching is just something extraordinary, and it's definitely going to give us excitement, and we're looking forward to it.
And we get a bit of a preview of the team coming up this weekend with your lone home date on the calendar outside of championships coming up with a 3-game till. It'll be your senior day as well. We'll end with senior day in just a moment. But you play Washington and Jefferson again. You've already played them a couple of times this season. Penn State, Bear, and Mercy here, so some familiar faces around the pool. What can fans expect to see from this team when they venture out and get a chance to take in this team for the first time, maybe all season long in person?
So, as we have progressed in the development in our game and wins, ultimately, and program, that's how the other teams have excelled as well. I have to say that, some teams, some Division III teams that we played in the past that, that might have not been a closer game are becoming a very close game. And that's just a showcase of water polo development, specifically I'm talking regionally and obviously on the national level. So with that being said, both coaches at Penn State, Bear, and WJ, the games they were going to play, and Merciers, they're doing great jobs. And it will be a good game to come and watch, a very high quality game. We played Bear not that long ago, and it was a 6-7 game. goal game. So it's going to be exciting. That's also on the other side for our guys. That's a lot of excitement because this is the time when you're gonna try some things that you didn't try before. There's the stuff that you're gonna build your confidence and ultimately, as I said that many times, find your role on this team.
Is that something you're seeing more often now in water polo specifically? Is that some D3s are maybe, I don't want to say closing the gap, but having better competition with D2s with D1s? I mean, you're experiencing that this year with the teams you're playing in D1. I'm just curious to see where you see the sport in terms of how close the divisions are to each other in terms of competition level.
Oh, for sure. I think that, to begin with water polo, talking about Gannon, a lot of people are not familiar with the teams, the conferences we play. We're not a regular PSAC team. We don't have PSACs for water polo, comparing it to the other teams. So we have to compete with some of the teams from California, from New York, from all over the place. So what I'm trying to say is that there's a lot of talent throughout the divisions. So if you play Division 1, 2, 3, it doesn't matter necessarily that you're going to be better than the other ones. Everybody beats everybody, and I think we can attest to that definitely as of late.
All right, out hops Coach Sadakovic. In comes Michael McGarry, sophomore in the local product, who we've talked to preseason and now kind of rendezvousing with in the middle of September here on the United Podcast, brought to you by John Russell Hospitality. Michael, hard to believe you guys are nearly getting close to the halfway point of the season. Things have flown by. Your coach just talked about that. You mentioned to me that really the first week of classes, you kind of get things settled down, and then it's just kind of go from there.
Yeah, everything just kind of runs and blurs together. You blink and it's over. So we're already halfway through the season. There's a lot to look forward to, but it's been good so far.
Take me what you make of this team so far. I think what pops off the page to me most is you see the box score littered with different members of your team who are putting the ball in the net. Your goaltending has been great. It seems like you got that depth this year that maybe you haven't had in previous years. Is that what you're seeing? And kind of what do you like about the team so far this year?
Yeah, I feel like a lot of guys are getting out of their comfort zone and they're stepping up to the plate, and we're getting scores from all sides of the pool, from lots of different guys. Everyone's kind of stepping up and taking responsibility, not selfishly, but realizing that they play a critical role on this team. And it takes everyone to score from in the pool to open up other opportunities. So it's been really good to see that and that development across the team, and it's even been a stronger team dynamic. So last year we had a lot of new guys that didn't really know each other all too well, but now there's a lot closer of a bond, so guys can know each other, they have more experience with each other, and it's been good. It's been proven in the pool too so far.
I imagine when you talk about development, the one thing that you're mentioning is maybe playing in rules that you're not used to playing, right? So, I mean, for those of you who don't know water polo, and I'm not saying I'm an expert myself, but where you play in the pool matters. You have strong side, weak side, and there's certain areas where players are best suited. What was that process like to learn, whether it's yourself or others, a different spot in the pool, and how have you been able to pull that off and just rotating different guys in different places?
It's been very interesting, because lots of the guys are strong side players. So lots of guys are right-handed, they want to play on the strong side, but then there's more competition for playing on that strong side. So guys often find themselves on the weak side, and they have to do things to create space and get themselves open. So what they end up doing is they have to drive, they have to try new things, they have to post up. So it's been good to see guys that do work out of their comfort zone, and we found opportunities with guys getting into those situations. And even too, like our lefties, they open up a lot of space, and having a lefty on the team really helps add another angle to where we can score from the pool.
It's so fascinating, the strategy of the game, and a lot of guys were talking about to me a few weeks back when we did a few interviews that they feel like the game has slowed down a bit. There's more of maybe a patience aspect. Correct me if I'm wrong, but it seems like the patience aspect of this game has been heightened in the last few years more so. What has been the key for you guys in terms of staying patient, waiting for your opportunities? Because there are other games we see, other sports that we cover here with student athletes on our campus that are just go, right? How do you stay patient in those situations and use that to your advantage?
Staying patient's a big thing that we've had to work on because we're really a fast team. Maybe not me personally, but we have guys that are very fast and they can counter really fast. So it's been hard to kind of break apart of, okay, we may be on the counterattack, we may be up, we may be able to score from this, but will we have a better opportunity if we set up and use patience, let guys work? We have really good set players who need to work and fight for position to get open and get the ball in. So patience has been everything. I think other teams use it more, and I think we can definitely use it more too. It's been interesting. We got to trust that guys are going to drive and they're going to help create space. You know, movement without the ball is a big thing. Rather than just leaving one guy to just foul and shoot, we got to work on patience and opening up opportunities like that. So yeah.
Your coach talked about your schedule and that you've played some Division I powerhouses already. Of course, you opened the season in a quad of games with Brown and Harvard. You just got done against Air Force. You have other really top-tier opponents, even if they're not Tier 1 of D1 on your schedule. What have you been able to learn in those games about your team that you think will help you improve for conference championships in a couple months?
Those games are really nice because we get to kind of play around with new things. We can afford to make mistakes that, okay, maybe wasn't the smartest move, but we're trying new things and trying it in a pool. And really, too, trying it against a different team is the biggest thing. You know, we play against each other so much, we know what the other person's going to do. So being able to get out there and try new things against a new team can really open up like, wow, that actually worked really well. And then we can apply that to those better, bigger games.
Lastly, I want to talk about Senior Day, and I know you're not a senior, but it feels like you are a senior given that you've played in Erie. We've seen you around playing in Erie for the last 5-6 years. But the Erie Classic in and of itself is going to be a great opportunity for fans to be able to watch this team, and you have a lot of veterans, including some seniors on your team that are big roles. How important will it be to recognize them coming up this weekend?
It'll be incredibly important. Erie, I've always said, is kind of like one big family. Getting our seniors out, and some of the seniors aren't even from Erie, so their family won't be able to make it. So it's important to get out, show them the support of the Gannon family, and show them that we appreciate them.
Erie Classic coming to Cathedral Prep starting on Saturday, and of course that will be part of a 3-game set for Gannon Men's Water Polo. It's going to be Saturday at 10:30, as well as Saturday at 3:30. Senior Day festivities will happen Saturday afternoon, and then Sunday 10:30 a.m. as well for Gannon Men's Water Polo. We are very happy to bring on a couple of student athletes from volleyball who were promised. The 2 vets, really. There are a lot of young talent on this team. But Lauren Atwell and Bangasu Arslan are not 2 of those. Sue, you're the one senior on this team, and Lauren, you've been here longer than certainly most on the team so far this year. Can you take us through the beginning of the season? You played 11 games away from home. It seems like it's been an eternity, even though the season's still not that old. What that was like, and Sue, we'll start with you on this, what that process was like, trying to get involved, get everybody involved, make sure that people know what they're doing. What was that 11 games like being on the road?
It was kind of tough because we were away. Like, we didn't have our home crowd and all the stuff.
Yeah.
We're a new team with so many new players, so we're kind of trying to find our identity. And lots of players coming in from, like, outside and, like, giving giving everything they can do. Just, like, mostly trying to figure out our identity, I would say.
Lauren, how long, maybe you haven't figured out the identity yet, but what has it been like trying to incorporate new players in different spots? Is it something that everyone's gotten used to? Your coach talked about that everyone's embraced the fact that people are going to play around in different spots. Sometimes you'll be taken out of a game, but it doesn't mean that you're on the bench for the next game. What's that process been like?
It's definitely been interesting. Nobody has taken it in like a super bad way. I feel like everybody has been able to kind of accept their role on the team, as well as staying ready and knowing that they have the chance to get thrown in any position for some people and in specific positions for others. But yeah, I think we've done a really good job and coach has done as well, just making the right decisions and understanding those decisions as well.
So let's talk about being home tomorrow. And the first time, I still find this insane that we're into September of 2025 and volleyball still has not played a game inside the newly renovated Highmark, but it's true. We unveiled it in January, and here you are finally getting to play a point in there tomorrow night. What's that feeling going to be like? I mean, I know obviously you don't know the pomp and circumstance that we're going to have before the game. You'll find that out tomorrow night. And if you're a fan and you just like the theatrics of games, you're going to want to be there just for that. But Sue, start with you on this. What's it going to be like being able to play at home finally again after such a long time away from your home building?
Yeah, not only this season, but last year we had to play in a different gym, which was really, really tough. I'm really excited for this because it's gonna be my last year to play home, and I think this is gonna be really great for us because we've been waiting for this moment for so long, and I think that kind of fires up us.
Lauren, how much do you allow yourself to take in the moment before you actually focus on the game? Because your coach was talking about, okay, we want to win, obviously, we got to focus on the game, but he said, I'm okay with my players soaking in the home opener or the festivities for a moment. How long will you take to soak in the moment before you go out there and try to win a volleyball match?
I mean, for me personally, the second I step on the court, it's I'm not worried about anything else that's going on. Definitely beforehand, it's going to be really cool, and I'm going to try and keep my cool and not get too excited. But yeah, I feel like the second the first serve goes into play, it's game mode.
Of course, before the game begins, we're doing the ring ceremony of the 2024 Atlantic Region Champion team. You both were on that, and you're one of just a few that were part of that team. 6 of the 8 who graduated last year will come back. I'm sure it'll be exciting to get to see them again tomorrow night, too.
For sure. Yeah, I missed them.
What was that team like? Just reminisce with me for a second. I know you're on to 2025, but what was that team like? And are there things that you've told this year's version of the Golden Knights that, hey, we did this last year to be successful. This is what we can do this year. Has that conversation been like for the team? If there's been one of them.
I mean, one thing that we do every year is just to make sure we're a very sophisticated team. We make sure we follow all the team rules, like our jerseys stay tucked in, our earrings are tight to our ear, even at practice our t-shirts stay tucked in. It's little stuff like that I feel like keeps our minds focused and just keeping that professional look to us.
So I'm sure it'll be exciting to have that team back, or at least most of that team back that graduated from a year ago.
I think it was a really talented group, but now we're just focused on us. It's a new team, a new start, and I would say we're full of energy with so many new young players.
And it's funny because you mentioned new, but you've already played 11 games, which is kind of funny. It feels the season's already half over, but it's not. Before we let you both go, I have a couple of quick comments. The first is, make sure to follow Volleyball on social media, by the way. There are social media pages now for the team. We have Facebook, X, Instagram up. We actually just had a feature including Sue earlier today, so make sure to stay tuned for that. We have a new segment with Coach Darling's Book of the Month. And I want to end with this. Speaking of books, I'm trying to convince your coach to show me on camera what is in his Volleyball Bible. Do either of you have an idea of what could be in there? I feel like that's the $1 million question with this program every year. Do you have any idea?
I would say it's a tough question. I feel like it's about volleyball, his personal opinions. It literally could be everything in it. It's a big secret.
Yeah. I don't think we want to read the book.
Is there a new one every year, or just continues on year after year?
This year is a new one.
Okay.
I feel like it's a new one every year, right?
Is it? Every time he finishes the book, he gets a new one.
My opinion, this is how I think it should go, is the last book of the month that he does for social media should be his Volleyball Bible book for 2025. That's just my personal opinion. He's never going to do it, but it would be really funny if he did. Nonetheless, we can't wait to see you both on the floor on Friday night, 7 o'clock. And before we let you go, we're hoping for a big home crowd. What would that crowd energy mean to both of you for the home opener tomorrow night?
Everything, yeah. It means a lot to us.
We haven't really had, we've had a good crowd in the past, but I feel like this year it's just it's a big game. To be able to have so many people in the gym, especially students too,
yeah.
It would just feel like that electric feeling before the game would definitely help us out for sure.
I'm telling you, you don't want to miss it. It is the home opener for volleyball tomorrow night, literally 24 hours and 10 minutes from now. The ring ceremony will be starting about 24 hours from now. Sue, Lauren, thanks for joining us. Good luck tomorrow night. Have a lot of fun. Can't wait to see you both in action when you face Shepherd tomorrow night at 7 o'clock.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Sue and Lauren, joining us on the show. on this United podcast, brought to you as always by John Russell Hospitality.
At John Russell Hospitality, every restaurant tells a story of flavor, community, and unforgettable moments. From handcrafted meals to welcoming spaces, we bring people together around a table. John Russell Hospitality, where great food meets genuine companionship. Make sure to visit one of our 6 locations today.
Alrighty, wrapping up our show in just a few minutes here on this United podcast, brought to you by John Russell Hospitality. We're here at Pier 6 Rooftop Bar and Restaurant. I can't put into perspective how beautiful the sunset is here. We just talked about our dish of the day a little bit ago, the blackened chicken sandwich. But if you haven't been to Pier 6 or any of the John Russell Hospitality locations, I really highly recommend you go. And I don't just say that because of the sponsorship. They are some of, if not the best places in Erie to eat. Like, there's no better view, in my opinion, than sitting here on the pier with the sunset in the background and get to put a microphone on and talk about a podcast as well. So thankful to John Russell Hospitality for their graciousness of sponsoring our podcast each and every single week. Got a couple more announcements for you, including the CCA Tip-Off Classic. We've been talking about this, folks. We're about a month out from one of the biggest, if not the biggest, basketball tournament that will be in the United States, certainly for Division II women's basketball, November 7th through the 9th. Gannon and Edinburgh jointly hosting this tournament, which will include several teams who made the NCAA tournament a year ago. Gannon, of course, will be host to 3 games on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. They'll be playing in 3 games. There'll be multiple games per day. You can get more information on our website, GannonSports.com. You can also go to the Erie Sports Commission website, which is there in the bottom left corner for more information. We're going to be having some live interviews and some previews to talk about the CCA in the coming weeks, so make sure to stay tuned for that as well. Again, a reminder, make sure to stop by our podcast live and in person each and every single week. If you do, you get entered into an opportunity for the Golden Ticket giveaway. Each week that you're present at the podcast and show proof of purchase, you have the chance to enter your name into that year-end drawing. And if your name's drawn at the end of the year, lucky you win season tickets for football and men's and women's basketball for an entire year, free of charge, as well as reserved seating to every single Gannon home event in 2026-2027. So why wait? Come to the podcast live in person now if you haven't already. Every week that you're there and show proof of purchase, you get a chance to enter yourself into that Golden Ticket giveaway. All right, we end the show every week with our top 5 plays of the week. Got a couple of good ones, including some plays that may not be specific goals, points, or saves, but performances as well. So it's our top 5 plays, performances of the week here to end the month of September. Let's go ahead and start our countdown at number 5. And number 5 is a performance of the week. How about Alexandros Koskar, who's going to be one of 4 seniors that gets recognized for the Golden Knights when they take on Penn State Barron on Senior Day. He was the WWPA Offensive Player of the Week. He had a 10-goal game against Salem in the tournament that they played last week. 13 goals on the entire weekend. He was tremendous. He is the captain. He is one of their biggest offensive outputs. Congratulations to Alex on his incredible performance for the WWPA Offensive Player of the Week. Speaking of players of the week, Bangasu Arslan was just an incredible force as the setter in the weekend tournament at West Virginia. She was named to that all-tournament team in what was a big weekend for Gannon volleyball. 150 assists for Sue, 5 aces, 4 blocks, and she will be a focal point of that attack coming up on Friday for the home opener. At number 3, cross country sweeping the YSU Invitational last weekend. First place for the men and the women. Emily Bowers, Alexis Abbott, and Adam Canterman were among the top finishers for the men and the women. Rob Aaron's squad is off to a tremendous start, folks. Don't sleep on cross country. They have a lot of talent and a lot of ability to make a deep run in this 2025 season. At number 2, last night, Gannon Edinburgh. Who else but the magical left foot of one Brooklyn Respecki? She was in our top plays last week. This is the GWG, just puts it into the corner, nearly saved, but it's going to take more than a Herculean effort to stop a shot from Brooklyn Respecki. That's the GWG. Gannon gets the win to stay undefeated. But at number 1 from Gannon Westchester men's soccer last Saturday, look at the moves that Rafa Hyde puts on the defender, and then right to Svera Orton, who puts it into the back of the twine. Take one more look as the boys celebrate. They always know where to find the camera, folks. That's one thing for sure. It's like putting on the Ritz on a dance floor. I think Rafa Hyde could probably audition for Hamilton. His dance moves were that good. Take a look. Whoops, see ya later. Goodbye. Right to the back of the cage for Orton. Gannon got the win in that game. 3-1 the final over Westchester in that game. And that is your top 5 plays and performances of the week for Gannon Athletics. Going to be another great list next week. Of course, we'll likely have some volleyball sprinkled in with some other soccer matchups. Water polo likely to factor into the top 5 next week, and football returns home on October 4th, so keep an eye on them. After their hiatus this week, they're not playing this week, is football. All right, that's going to do it for our United podcast this week. Want to remind you that every month we switch locations around John Russell Hospitality, so we are back at the UPick 6 Tap House in October for the entire month. The place that started it all, we're returning for October, so make sure to join us. We want to thank all of you for joining us tonight, and we want to especially thank Pier 6 Rooftop Bar and Restaurant for this gorgeous setting, wonderful backdrop, and their hospitality throughout the month of September. So join us coming up on October 2nd. We have many more live guests, including Provost Dr. Ewing, who will join us on the show. We'll preview the baseball home run-a-thon and get you ready for the upcoming PNC Achiever announcement for 2 of our student athletes who have excelled both in this field of community service and leadership in the classroom. So stay tuned for that. Can't wait to showcase more on the United podcast coming up in the month of October. Stay safe. Have a wonderful weekend. We'll see you on Friday for women's volleyball. We'll see you on Saturday for the WWPA Erie Classic, and we'll see you for both of those sports on Sunday as well. Enjoy the weekend, everybody. We'll see you all back here next Thursday, October 2nd at 6 o'clock, back at the Tap House for more on the United podcast.